Yo, what is up, fam? Ben here. So I'm at my girlfriend's house. Excuse the femininity of the flowers. I just got back from a 4-day snowboarding trip, and my company did 40K in the last month. So I got 23K through Stripe, and then 14K through direct wire transfer, and then we also had 75K in new clients. So the only people on my team are a $6 per hour VA. There's a commission setter, and then there's me. And this is like literally all it is. So our profit margins are super high, and it wasn't always like this. It wasn't always this way. Like, I never thought I'd even get here. When I was 13 to 21, I had loads of addictions to like drugs, alcohol, cigarettes. Then I had a brain injury at 21. I was labeled with ADD, and I just was told that I would not make anything from my life. And so I just really thought I didn't have what it took to really get where I've got to today. So today I'm going to cover what I did to actually get here, because I know a lot of people really want to understand how to make that jump. So I used to make all these excuses, like, people that I would see who were crushing it, and they were doing like, 50K, 100K per month online. And I was like, oh yeah, they just have like some kind of edge. Like they just have some kind of, intelligence that I don't have. Or, they were born into a more wealthy family, or they were from like an entrepreneurial background. And what I realized was like, these are just literally like limiting decisions. And the limiting decisions that were playing out in my life, and a lot of people that watch my stuff, are just like, what if I try and then I fail? And what if I waste money? What if I waste time? And these are just crippling because they're not the truth, and there's actually something inside them which is their own cure. So this was, the problem with this is that I was like so afraid of failing, but I was already failing by my own standards. Like, I was so afraid of wasting money, but I was actually wasting money by not making what I really wanted each month. Like, if you want to make 10K per month and you're only making 4K per month, 2K per month, then you're losing 6K per month, 8K per month. You have to think about it that way, and not as if what you could lose by trying to get that. And like wasting time, I was wasting my life not living the life I wanted. So instead of thinking, oh, I might waste time, I was thinking that way in the beginning. But then the real time I was wasting was living a life that wasn't like the one I could design for myself. And then I was afraid of what people were thinking. So common, right? And like, I was thinking myself into this analysis paralysis because I was trying to like live within the boundaries of what other people, knew me as. And I didn't want to disappoint people, and I was like a chronic people pleaser, and I didn't want other people to, reject me or abandon me. They were what it came down to. But really, in doing that, my own self-identity was just like getting smashed. Like, I didn't think highly of myself, and I was regarding myself based on what other people thought, instead of really just like living life for myself. And this kind of like process of making this 40, 50, 100K per month, more than the money, it's actually the most valuable thing has been how I perceive myself and my own self-worth, and my own journey, and how much I can like own where I actually want to go in life, instead of living my life within the constraints of avoiding other people's negative perspectives. So I had addictions and lifestyle changes. So I was going like 3-day benders from the age of 13, 21. I was so undisciplined. Like, I was playing video games, I was partying, and I was just like getting into a mess. I was having near-death experiences. And I realized like I actually was just in love with the dopamine. And I just trained myself to find dopamine in dangerous ways. And what I've noticed, taking 2,500 sales calls, having 250 clients, making 2 million in revenue in the last 6 years, is that the reason why people aren't consistent and don't pull the trigger on their dreams, and they don't go all in on like the business they want, is really because they've trained themselves to get dopamine from places that just damage them, instead of training them to get dopamine from places that will actually expand them into their potential. And so if you have something that you want to get off the ground, coaching business, consulting business, but you're just feeling like you're missing some information, let's put our heads together and we can actually help you launch this. I've done it with, as I said, over 250 people. If you want to apply to work with us after we do that, we can. So we do this over a call. But if you just want to take it away and use it yourself, you'll at least be better informed to actually make that happen. So book a call with the link in the description below if you want to do that. Anyway, back to the video. So I was thinking in terms of, what do I need to add? What do I need to do more of? What do I need to start doing? And because of that, it was keeping me stuck. And actually what I ended up realizing is I actually need to look at, what do I remove? Because you right now probably don't have enough time, probably don't have enough energy, probably don't have enough of something. And that's not because you don't have enough, actually. It's because you are doing too many things that are depleting you instead of expanding you, like I said before. So you need to remove the things that are creating negative consequences in your life and that are actually damaging you. So for me, I was on drugs and alcohol, and I was doing benders, and I was hanging out with toxic people. I was always feeling like tense when I would leave them, right? And what I needed was to let go of those things. So I did those first, and I started doing meditation, kung fu, and I started doing fire twirling, right? So those were what I replaced it with. And those things started giving me more energy and more time and more focus. But I cut out a lot of the toxic people and a lot of the other things, the addictions. Then once I started getting into good habits, I started realizing, okay, like I need to start helping people, because I'm now in a better position, and there's so many people that are struggling in the position I was in. And so I started wanting to start a coaching business. And the way that I tried to solve for that problem was I used things like ChatGPT, Claude, YouTube videos, and I started just going to webinars, short courses, free courses. But all of those things were giving me bits of information, but they never gave me the whole picture. They were always missing information, so I stayed stuck. And that's why people stay stuck, is because they don't have enough information and the right sources of information, so they don't proceed. And it really comes from low quality information input sources, and you have to cut off those, actually have to remove them, because they create this, they kind of dampen your thirst for better quality information sources, because they kind of just satisfy that dopamine in the brain, but they don't actually create the result that you're wanting, because they're not complete solutions. Okay, so my journey from getting my first client, I'm going to go through this now. So my first coach, he got me to create content. I just literally created content every day. I just gave value. And a lot of the problem with people when they're starting out is they focus on, what can I take? I want the 10K per month. I want clients. They focus on what they don't have and what they can take instead of what they can give and what they can really how do I give value to a certain kind of person that can pay me? And so I was just giving super authentic, vulnerable value. I was studying in yoga trainings and ashrams and with the gurus around the world at this stage. It was just before COVID. And then what happened was COVID hit. I came back and I couldn't continue doing what I was doing at the time, which was being a massage therapist. So I had to change, and I had to adapt. And that's the thing with these days with AI, and just on a side note, if you don't adapt and you don't change with the changing times, if you hold on to your identity in this certain way, you won't make it through, because the world is changing, whether we like it or not. And we have to either jump on the bandwagon and use it for a positive change, or we just don't change, and then whatever doesn't change, it doesn't survive, pretty much. So once I came back from COVID into my house, I couldn't leave the house, and so I just got on calls with strangers, and I just literally DM'd people in Facebook groups. I just DM'd people online. I got on calls with strangers, and I found how to serve them. And what I would do is I would build a solution. A lot of the time people build solutions prematurely. They try and perfect their offer before they even can talk to people. And it's unless you're talking to someone that has refined hundreds of offers before and can just give you an offer that will sell well, chances are if you create a course or you create some kind of offer or program that hasn't been looked over by someone that knows what they're doing, it's not going to sell, because it's usually missing some major piece or some minor piece that makes all the difference. So anyway, I would jump on calls with people, and I would build a process to solve for the problems they gave me. This is key, because what a lot of people do is they try and sell something that's pre-packaged to someone, but they don't have the system to generate the right person that would be the best fit for that package. That's product, it's a product. So the person doesn't want it, there's a mismatch. It's not the right fit. You only can have a productized, packaged offer if you have a system for client acquisition that will get the same person that would be the perfect fit for that product, for that offer, in front of them reliably. If you don't have that, you have to just build your process around the person's needs that comes to you. So you're actually at the effect of the marketing that is running, whatever that is, if it's word of mouth or referrals, or it's just like you have some, it has to be very customized, because you have no control over the kind of person and the problem they have that comes to you. So I was having to do that starting out. Now, that's not what everyone has to do. I wouldn't advise everyone does that when they're starting out, but that's what I had to do, because I didn't have a system that could bring me the same person predictably, so I could actually build a productized conveyor belt kind of offer and acquisition system. So what ended up happening was I started building the service for the people on the call, and it opened up a world for me, because I got my first client and they were just coming in through organic content because it was super authentic, it was super reliable. I'd been creating content for a while, and I'd created such a massive amount of what's called goodwill. People had received so much value, they were like, oh my God, I feel like people feel uncomfortable if you give them so much value and they don't have a way of giving it back. So I did like this give, and then ask. I made people feel, not intentionally, but so uncomfortable with how much value they'd gotten from me, that when I gave my first call to action, someone put up their hand and paid me $2,500. And it was like some random guy from high school. And so he paid me, and then I was like, wow, that's like crazy. So I just kept doing it. And there are limits on that, like organic content. Obviously there were things missing to scale that, but it was the start. That's what started me off on this process. Once I had the first client, I just started doing more of that. And then I reached 10K per month within the first 2-3 months, 50K per month just from referrals and upsells inside, which is another video entirely. And then I started scaling from there. So if you're wanting to hit 10K per month, and you have to understand that you are going to be placing yourself in the 0.01% of income earners in the world. So if you feel or believe that you may be missing something, like a system, or how to productize the offer, or how to even have these calls, and how to curate the service that you could potentially give them to receive money, then let me know. Book a call in the description below and jump on a call with me, because I will show you how to solve these issues. This is, I assure you, not a bait and switch tactic. There's nothing that I'm going to use like ninjutsu, high pressure sales tactics. This is literally just for that purpose. And then if you want to hear more about our service, we can book another call from there. We can go through that. But this is a separate process. First, it's about value, which are my principles. And then it's about, if you want to keep working with us more in a paid capacity, you can also ask for that later. Okay. So otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.